Hi everyone, and welcome back to Ronnie the Reader. Today I am excited because we are going to be doing the mid-year book Freakout tag. This is a video that I do enjoy doing pretty much every year that it comes up, and so I just like to kind of look at my year in review, kind of evaluate where I'm at in my reading and what I've enjoyed so far this year. So there is 15 questions for this particular tag, so we're going to be going over them. I'm not going to be spending too much time on each question because I'm sure a lot of you have seen this video. It's been going around for many, many years. There's already a few that I've seen pop up that people have done, so I am excited to kind of get started. So let's jump in with question number one. So question number one is the best book that you have read thus far in 2025. And for me, I think I'm going to have to go with Yellowface by R.F. Kuang. I just absolutely love this book, and honestly, picking a best book or a favorite book that I've read this year has been really hard. I have given out a lot of 5 stars this year, which is I think a little abnormal. I feel like I've just given out a lot more 5 stars in this year of reading than I have really in any years past, especially since I've really been documenting my reading. And so it's just been really difficult. But Yellowface is a book that just really sits with me. I read it in January and it just really was fantastic. I loved the writing style. I loved just kind of the way the story was structured and played out, and getting to be inside the head of a character who was just truly kind of awful. It really kind of got me hooked on R.F. Kuang's writing, and I'm really interested in checking out the Poppy War trilogy now, which before I had been interested in it before. I just kind of I'm getting back into fantasy, like especially high fantasy, and so I was a little intimidated by it. But now I definitely have plans to pick that up next year for sure. Question number two is the best sequel that you have read in the year of 2025 so far. And for me, it's definitely got to be Sunrise on the Reaping by Suzanne Collins. I mean, this book really was everywhere for me. I saw a ton of people talking about it. I saw a ton of videos and Instagram posts about it and reels and all of the sorts. And so I absolutely love this book. It was so devastating. It was one of the most brutal Hunger Games books that I have ever read, but one that really just sits with you. It leaves you kind of gasping for air almost. It really just does not let up from page one all the way till the end. Question three is a new release that you have not read yet, but you'd still want to. And for this, I'm going to do Count My Lives by Sophie Stava. This came out, I think, in March of this year, and I saw some things about it. To be honest, I haven't had my eyes on that many new releases aside from a select few from authors that I have read and really liked in the past. And so this one kind of came on the scene. It was an author that I hadn't really heard about. I really know nothing about this author and whether they have other books, and if this is a debut. I really just don't know anything. I just know that a lot of people have talked about this book and said that it was really good. It was really shocking and surprising. And that was from a lot of people that have read many mystery thrillers. So I really try to take those particular recommendations to heart as someone who has read a ton of mystery thrillers. I'm always looking for ones that can still kind of shock and surprise people. And ultimately, like, what that comes down to is just your preferences, right? Like, that's really what liking a mystery thriller is kind of about. Once you get to a certain point where you have read a lot of the same kind of twists over and over again, it's how can the author pull this off, and what are the tropes that go into a mystery thriller that you like. And this one, I think, does have tropes that I would like and I am intrigued by. So definitely still want to get to this one later in the year. I did place a library hold for it. And unfortunately, when I got the hold, it just wasn't interesting to me at the time. Like, I just was in the mood for other stuff, and kind of in a slump as a whole, which I've really been in kind of since April, I would say. And so I just returned it from the library without even trying to give it a shot. And so now I am back at the end of the line for the hold, and it's a long wait from my library. So we'll see when I do actually get to this one. Question four is your most anticipated release for the second half of the year. And for me, this is going to be You Belong Here by Megan Miranda. This is an author that is kind of an auto-read author for me, and one of the few authors that I kind of follow along with their new releases. And so I know nothing about this book. I don't know the premise. I don't know the setting. I don't know anything, but it is a Megan Miranda. And for some reason, I just really love her books. And they always kind of just go well for me. For the most part, there are a few that really didn't work for me, but I think that's kind of a given when you've read like 8 to 9 books from an author. I think if you like a majority of them, there's bound to be one that maybe you don't enjoy. So this one I am going to be reading. I think it comes out at the end of July. I didn't pre-order it or anything. I'm thinking if I want to, because the rest of my Megan Mirandas are in paperback. So I think I am going to do the audiobook request from my library and listen to it that way. Question 5 is the biggest disappointment that you have read this year. And unfortunately, it's going to be The Last Murder at the End of the World by Stuart Tartan, who wrote The 7.5 Deaths of Evelyn Hardcastle, which I really loved. And now his latest 2 books, this one and The Devil in the Dark Water, just really haven't worked for me. The Last Murder at the End of the World, I was really into for the full first half. Like for the first really 50%, or maybe it was like 40%. I was really into this book. And then when you get to the midpoint twist, I don't know, I just kind of lost interest, and it took me a really long time to read. I was going back and forth between physical and audiobook listening, and listening to the audiobook just felt like I was moving so slowly through this book. Like it was such a slog to get through each chapter. And then when I was reading physically, I really only wanted to read like a chapter or 2, even though I was reading them really quickly, because I just wasn't hooked into the story anymore. And that just makes me sad because I was super excited for this book. I also love the cover of this book, and my physical copy has sprayed edges of this book. I hauled it earlier this year, and so you can check that out on my Instagram if you want to see that. But yeah, it's just disappointing. I am upset that I don't like this, and I think I probably will read Stuart Tartan's next book because I really enjoy the premise of his books and kind of what he's promising. It just seems like the execution really isn't there. And it really makes me want to revisit The 7.5 Deaths of Evelyn Hardcastle after finishing this one, because that book was only a 4-star when I read it. It really didn't work for me. It's only since finishing it that it really sat with me and has become like a favorite book of all time. And so I feel like I do need to revisit it at this point now that I've had kind of 2 misses from this author. Question 6 is your biggest surprise, and this one is going to be The Diviners by Libba Bray. I started listening to the audiobook of The Diviners back in, I was still in college. It was like pre-COVID, so pre-2020, and I just hated the audiobook. I hated our characters, really didn't enjoy it. And so I decided to give it another shot. I checked it out physically from the library, and then I did also listen to part of the audiobook. And there was just something about it this time that this book really worked for me. I really got into the mystery kind of aspect of this book, and I enjoyed the like paranormal and supernatural elements and the multi POVs of the characters. And so this ended up being a 5-star for me this year. I just really loved it. Obviously, it was shocking coming from a previous DNF. So I do want to move forward with the sequel. I've checked it out twice from the library thus far and just haven't had time to get to it yet. It's also a really huge book. The Diviners is like over 500 pages. I think Lair of Dreams book 2 is like over 600 or maybe even 700 pages. So they are big books. And so I do want to get to that one, but who knows when I will. But yeah, The Diviners, absolutely shocked that I love this so much, but really happy that I decided to just kind of check it out on a whim from the library. Number 7 is a new favorite author, and I'm going to kind of have 2. One is Liz Moore, who wrote The God of the Woods, which I just listened to as an audiobook a couple of weeks ago and really enjoyed. I know that that book has gotten a lot of hype as well, and so I definitely will be checking out more mystery thrillers from Liz Moore after reading this one because I really, really enjoyed it. But then the other one is Kyle Higgins, who is responsible for the first couple volumes, I think up to like volume 7 or 8. Maybe of the Mighty Morphin Power Rangers graphic novel series, which I've really gotten into this year, and just graphic novels in general. So definitely going to be checking out obviously more of this series. And then I do want to see what other series Kyle Higgins has worked on and see if there's either original or already existing IP that he's kind of adapted to the graphic novel medium, and maybe check some of those out because I really like the way that he's taken this story in the direction that the graphic novels are going. Number 8 is your newest fictional crush or like new favorite couple. And honestly, I don't have an answer for this one. I haven't read that many romances. I think I've only read 2 this year, and both of them just kind of didn't work for me. And then as far as picking out like a crush or a couple from other works of literature, I just can't, I don't know. For me, it just really sticks in my mind if it's a romance. If it's just a normal, or not a normal, if it's a book with a romance subplot, just doesn't stick in my mind. But in general, I really just haven't read any this year that I've really loved. I guess from you could say like Haymitch and his girlfriend Lenore Dove, but that's also not a couple that I'm going to be thinking about. So number 9 is your new favorite character. And this one is a little bit of a cheat because I am going to say Haymitch from the Hunger Games series. And while I always liked Haymitch in the original trilogy, reading his POV and getting to be in his head during Sunrise on the Reaping was just such a different, fascinating look on the character, and I'm really excited to see the adaptation when it comes out next year and how the actor cast does. I think his name is Joseph something. I'm gonna have a picture on here of Haymitch, both Woody Harrelson's version and this new actor. But yeah, I'm excited to see kind of what they do, and I'm definitely excited to see that movie, even though it's going to be also really hard because the book was really devastating. Number 10 is a book that made you cry. And for me, this is going to be obviously Sunrise on the Reaping. Like, I did have actual tears that came out of my face for this, which is very abnormal. I don't cry too much at books specifically. But I do want to also mention The Memory Police by Yoko Agawa, which is a translated work originally from Japan. And this book just really got me. It's a really sad, sad book. And I didn't necessarily cry. I definitely got a little misty-eyed, and just really, it did make me just so sad and my heartbreak for the characters in this world. And that's definitely a book I recommend. I also gave that one 5 out of 5 stars. There's just a lot of books that I've read this year that I kind of want to mention as I've given them 5 stars and just really enjoyed them. And so definitely wanted to mention this one, even though I didn't necessarily cry full tears while reading this book. It was just leaves you really heartbroken and speechless and just really sad. Number 11 is a book that made you happy. And for this, I don't necessarily have like a true answer. I, once again, just kind of want to highlight books that I've kind of enjoyed. So I do want to say the Mighty Morphin Power Rangers graphic novel series that I already mentioned. This is just kind of such a nostalgic, fun graphic novel series for me as I grew up watching Power Rangers. This doesn't follow the show. It's a kind of different universe, different canon, different storyline while using some of the same characters. And a book that is not necessarily fun or easy or light or breezy, but a book that I really just loved earlier this year was None of This Is True by Lisa Jewell. That book really just kind of shocked me, and I had a lot of fun with it. It didn't necessarily make me happy because there is a lot of twisted things that go down in this book, but it's a really kind of fun, twisty thriller that I think a lot of people will like, especially if you've already read Lisa Jewell or are like a mystery thriller fan. I think you'll really enjoy this one. Number 12 is your favorite book to movie adaptation you've read this year. And I've actually not seen any book to movie adaptations or really any TV show adaptations this year that I at least can think of off the top of my head. And I kind of looked through some of my like watch history. So I am just going to mention a show that I really became obsessed with this year, and that's Yellow Jackets on Showtime / Paramount Plus. If you have not watched Yellow Jackets, please get on it. Season 3 just finished airing earlier this year, and it is my new obsession. Number 13 is your favorite video you've posted this year, and for me, I'm going to say my Sunrise on the Reaping vlog. I just had such a fun time reading and vlogging my experience reading that book. And so definitely go and check that out if you have not seen it yet. Question 14 is the most beautiful book that you've bought this year. And I am going to cheat a little bit and say a graphic novel, and I'm going to say Paper Girls Volume 3. This setting, I'm not going to show because, spoilers, but the setting in this particular book or graphic novel was just really pretty, and I loved the art style. I love the overall art style for this series, and I like the color. I really love this like kind of seafoam green / teal color for the background. And all of the Paper Girls volumes are just really bright neon colors. They are set in the 80s, and so it's kind of very 80s inspired as far as the color palette. And I just really love it. It's really pretty, and I definitely need to continue on in this series and get the next volume and make my way forward. And finally, question 15 is, what books do you still need to get to by the end of this year? And so I'm going to mention 2. It's 2 books that have been in my TBR for a long time that I definitely want to try to check off by the end of the year. Number 1 is going to be Manhattan Beach by Jennifer Egan, which is like a historical mystery book. I don't really exactly know too much about it, but I have had this book for a really long time. It was on my, definitely like 2024 TBR, and I didn't get to it. So definitely need to read that one by the end of the year. And then the second book that I really want to get to by the end of this year is The Three Body Problem by Sexton Liu, I believe is the author's name, and I think it's translated by Ken Liu. And this is a Chinese science fiction that became really famous. It kind of got really big when the Netflix adaptation came out, I think in 2023 or early 2024. I have been interested in the series for a long time, kind of hearing about it in the book world, and so I bought it. I started it and then put it down because it just wasn't the right time for me to be reading it. But now I feel like I am in a good space to potentially be reading it, so do want to try to make room for it, but it's also a really long book. And so we'll see, but those two for sure, and both of them are actually long. I think Three Body Problem is like almost 500, if not over 500 pages, and I think Manhattan Beach is like 400 pages. So longer books, but definitely want to try to get to them before the end of 2025. And that is everything for the mid-year book Freakout tag for 2025. So definitely let me know what you think of some of my answers, and let me know what are some of your answers to all or any of the questions down below. I'll leave a copy of the questions in the pinned comment down below. So if you want to kind of just copy that and give your answers, feel free. But otherwise, I will be back soon with another video. So thank you so much for watching today's video, and I will talk to you again soon. Thanks.